Hi friends, in this video we will know some more information regarding an ellipse. So what are the points we know so far? Ellipse is one type of conics which can be obtained by sectioning a cone by sectioning a cone whose angle is whose cutting plane angle or sectioning angle is greater than alpha. What is alpha here? Alpha is the semi-cone angle. Alpha is the semi-cone angle. If the cutting plane angle is more than semi-cone angle, we can able to get an ellipse. And what is the another point we know? This is one point we know about the ellipse. Another one is eccentricity of an ellipse. Eccentricity value of an ellipse is less than 1. These are the things we are aware of it. And one more thing, ellipse general equation is x square divided by a square plus y square divided by b square is equal to 1. This one we are already come across in plus 2 itself. We are already aware of these conics equations like circle, ellipse, parabola, hyperbola. All the basic equations we are already aware of it. But here, what is A and what is B? Most of the students, they can able to quickly give the answer that A is a major axis, length, but it is wrong. But it is wrong. It is not major axis, it is a semi-major axis, means half of the major axis length. So if this word is correct, then what about this equation? X square by a square minus y square by b square is equal to 1. This is the equation for hyperbola. This is the equation for hyperbola. But in hyperbola also we are having small a. Then there a is semi-major axis. If you are using one word in the mathematics or any one subject, it should be same for all the equations. The notation should not be changes. Sir, in ellipse it is considered as semi-major axis. What about a in hyperbola? So there is no major axis word is there in the hyperbola. That is why there is another name it is there. So I won't say it is not semi-major axis, but originally the name is not semi-major axis. In a later stage, after knowing some concept on ellipse, we can able to conclude A is the semi-major axis. So then what is A, sir? So A is nothing but semi-vertex gap. Semi-vertex gap is nothing but V1 V2 divided by 2. Sir, even hyperbola also V1 V2 vertices are there, so there also this word will be suitable. In hyperbola also A is considered as semi-vertex gap. Good, sir. But how semi-vertex gap became semi-major axis? So we will check it out in the diagram in detail. So this is an ellipse. So what are the various elements we know? So this is the center of the ellipse. I am not saying it is the focal point. It is the center of the ellipse. Let us consider it is O. So here the line which is passing through the O, The line which is passing through O is going to be considered, here I drawn one line. This line is considered as axis. All of you remember this? This is an axis. Simply I am using axis. So like this, how many axes will be there like this, sir? There will be infinite number of axes will be there. Among them, one axis is going to have maximum length. One axis is going to have maximum length. So the largest axis is going to be considered as major axis. Fortunately, this particular largest axis is going to coincide with vertices V1, V2. So here V1, V2 is nothing but 2A. So here V1, V2 is nothing but 2A. That implies A is considered as semi-vertex gap, semi-vertex gap. So that is why it is considered as a semi-major axis. Here the distance between, so here just now I said here it is having infinite number of axes. So this is also another axis. Black color one is one axis, red color one is one other axis, and blue color one is one more axis. Among all these axes, the axis which is going to have the largest length, maximum length, is considered as the major axis. So what is this line? It is a chord which is passing through the center. The chord which is passing through the center is considered as an axis. So this is one axis, this is one axis, this is another axis, this is the third axis. Like this, it is having infinite number of axes. Among these, the largest axis is going to be considered as major axis. So this one will be coincide with vertices. That is why it is going to be considered as, actually semi-focal gap is going to be considered as A. Semi-focal gap is going to be considered as A, that is semi-vertex gap. So here this semi-vertex gap, because this gap is going to be maximum in its length, that is why V1, V2 in this case is considered as a major axis. So if anybody asks what is A, I will accept major axis length is correct. I'm going to accept it. But original statement will be A is going to be semi-vertex gap is the correct statement for this. Good, sir. Among these, what is going to be least distance among these curves, which is passing through the center, which is considered as an axis? Whichever is going to have the least distance, it is going to be considered as minor axis. So which is going to be considered as minor axis, and it is going to be represents as CV1, CV2. So here what is CV1 and CV2? It is considered as CV1 to CV2 is considered as minor axis. So why it is considered as minor axis? Among all the axes, it is going to have the least length. So once it is having the least length, it is considered as a minimum or minor element. That is why it is considered as minor axis. Okay, sir. And it is going to be represents as CV1 and CV2. Sir, what is CV1 and CV2? These are considered as contemporary, means opposite to the vertices. Vertices are largest distance, CV1 and CV2 are having least distance. So that's why it is considered as co-vertex. These two are considered as co-vertices. Good, sir. Now, so this CV1 co-vertices are considered as minor axis. Sir, V1 V2 is 2a. OV1 is V1 V2 is 2a, and OV1 is small a. But most of the times the people are going to say this particular length OCV1 is considered as small b. OCV1 semi minor axis, semi means half of it. Semi minor axis is going to be considered as small b. How it is, sir? How it is? So let us consider. So here, before moving on to how B is obtained, we have to know one more term that is linear eccentricity. What is that? Linear eccentricity. What is linear eccentricity? So here, what is linear? Is going to be represented as C, which is also considered as semi-focal gap. Semi-focal gap. The meaning of it is F1, F2 divided by 2, or it is also considered as OF1 or OF2. Both are same. OF1 or OF2. So where it will get? So we are going to get here as F1. Here we are going to get F2. Now here, this particular length, if you consider from here to here, this particular length is going to be considered as semi-focal gap, which is also considered as linear eccentricity. Linear eccentricity C. Now, what is linear eccentricity formula? That is going to be square root of a square minus b square. For ellipse only, this is the formula. For ellipse only, linear eccentricity is a square minus b square. What about the other element? We will discuss that in the next video, because for hyperbola, what is linear eccentricity and what are the various parameters we have to remember, I will explain in the next video. Now here, sir, if you observe this equation, so can I square it on both the sides? C square is equal to a square minus b square. So if you send it to here, c square plus b square is equal to a square. So once if you observe this, if I construct a right angle triangle here, a square is going to become hypotenuse, because according to Pythagoras theorem, a square is hypotenuse square. So here hypotenuse is going to become a, and other two elements are the two perpendicular sides of a rectangle. No, not rectangle. Right angle triangle. For right angle triangle, two sides are going to be B comma C, and hypotenuse is going to become A. So if you observe the ellipse, this is going to be C. This length is going to be C. So the perpendicular to it is going to becomes B here. Then the line which will joins this is going to be considered as A. This is considered as A. That is why just now I said why minor axis is going to represent as twice of the B. 2B is considered as minor axis because OCV1 is going to be considered as OCV1 is going to be treated as B, because from linear eccentricity equation. So from this one, if you observe, A is the hypotenuse. If C is horizontal, B is going to be vertical. We know that C is going to be on the major axis or in the vertex line. In the vertex line only F1 and F2 are going to be present. Therefore, O F1 is going to be C. It is an horizontal. Perpendicular to that, if you draw it, we are going to get B. Automatically, co-vertex to the focal is going to becomes A. Is going to becomes A. So here we know one thing. OV1 is equal to CV1 F1. CV1 F1. So this equation I can able to get it with some other fashion also. I will explain that in few minutes. Before that, we will know some more information regarding it. So up to now, you know what is C, what is A, and what is B. C is a semifocal gap. A is a semi-vertex gap. So B is for ellipse only we can able to identify B. For ellipse only I can able to identify B, not for hyperbola. So most of the students, what they will feel is A and B are going to be present in the diagram directly. For ellipse it is going to be present. For hyperbola, B is not going to be present. But for hyperbola, A and C will be there. I will explain those elements in the next video. Now here, so from this C I obtained. Sir, what is the relation between linear eccentricity to the eccentricity? What is the relation between linear eccentricity to the eccentricity? Very simple. Linear eccentricity divided by semi-major axis. Semi-major axis is considered as eccentricity. So what is eccentricity? Semi-focal gap divided by semi-vertex gap is going to be considered as is considered as the eccentricity. That is, linear eccentricity divided by semi-vertex gap is the eccentricity. You have to remember this. What is eccentricity? This is going to be linear eccentricity. This is the ratio between linear eccentricity to the semi-vertex gap. Don't say major axis, because in hyperbola it is going to be considered with some other name. That is why don't use the derived words. Fundamental words are most important to remember. Now here what will happen? My E, sir, E is equal to square root of A square minus B square divided by A. So if you take it as a under root, this is going to be A square minus B square by A square. Now once if you keep this A square after the both the elements, therefore it is root of 1 minus B square by A square. So therefore, what is the eccentricity formula for ellipse? That is square root of 1 minus B square by A square. So sometimes they may ask, so if B value is something, because x square by 25 minus y square by 16 is equal, sorry, not minus, it is plus, by 16 is given, then they may ask so many questions from this. Means what is the distance between, what is the major axis length, what is the minor axis length, what is the distance between the focal points, what is the eccentricity value of this particular curve, they may ask. So all these things you can able to give the answers with that particular explanation. Sir, this is okay, but you said circle is one type of ellipse. Why, sir? Because we know that if A is equal to B and I am assuming it is equal to small r, then what will happen? X square by r square plus y square by r square is equal to 1. That implies x square plus y square is equal to r square. So you are already aware of it. X square plus y square is equal to c square, or r square is considered as the equation for, this is the equation for circle. Is it clear? Whenever A and B are same, whenever A and B are same, then it is going to be considered as circle. Okay, sir. So what is the eccentricity value of a circle? What is the eccentricity value of circle? So In the previous videos, I gave this board. So eccentricity value of circle is 0. How we got 0, sir? Just you observe. For these, if I substitute E is equal to root of 1 minus b square by a square. For this problem, b is equal to a or a is equal to b, then we can able to write 1 minus r square by r square. These two will get cancelled, that is equal to square root of 1 minus 1, that is going to be 0. Now I hope you got the clarity why eccentricity value of a circle is going to be 0. Is it clear? Now one more point we have to remember, most of the students they are aware of it. E is a ratio of what is E, sir? If it is a fixed line, if it is a fixed point, this is F. It is a fixed straight line, this is a directrix. If P is a point over it, so it is a ratio of distances of P from a fixed point to a fixed straight line. This is K. PF by PK. So the points which will join satisfy this particular eccentricity value is considered as conics, and wherever the conics meets the axis is considered as vertex, and this point is O or O1 we will consider. Therefore V is also a point on the curve, therefore we can able to consider VF divided by VO1. So these formulas you are already aware of it. Apart from this, we got one more formula. E is equal to linear eccentricity divided by semi-vertex gap. So from these, I can able to get one more information. What it is, sir? We know C is nothing but F1, F2 divided by 2 divided by A is nothing but V1, V2 divided by 2. Therefore, E can be considered as F1, F2 divided by V1, V2. So this is going to be considered as this focal gap divided by vertex gap. This is the another formula we have to remember. This is another formula to be remembered for eccentricity. Apart from this, we have one more equation. What it is, sir? That is E is equal to V1 V2 divided by O1 O2. What is this, sir? V1 V2 we know vertex gap. What is O1 O2? It is the gap between directrix. Directrix gap. What is this, sir? What is this directrix, sir? Just you observe here. So this is an ellipse. It is an ellipse. So here, what are the various elements? This is considered as V1, V2. These two are the focal gaps, F1, F2. This is O. Apart from this, we are having one more element. This is the first directrix, this is the another directrix. So, and here this particular element is going to be considered as axis. Wherever axis meets the directrix, we are going to be considered as O1 and it is going to be O2. So here, if you observe, F1 F2 by V1 V2 is eccentricity, and another formula is V1 V2 by O1 O2 is also an eccentricity formula. Sir, how we have to remember it, sir? We know that E value of ellipse is less than 1. E value of ellipse is less than 1. Therefore, once if it is a ratio x by y, automatically x should be less than y. Numerator is a smaller distance, denominator is a larger distance. If you observe, F1 and F2 and V1 V2 are adjacent elements. Among these two, smaller is F1 F2, so it is in the numerator, and V1 V2 is a larger and it is in the denominator. This is the way you can able to remember. Sir, what about here, sir? Here V1 V2 is this gap and O1 O2 is this particular gap. So here among these two V1 V2 is smaller, that's why we can able to keep it in the numerator. O1 O2 is a larger, we can able to keep it in the denominator. Now is there any other formula is there, sir? Yes, another formula, E is equal to square root of F1 F2 divided by O1 O2. So this is another equation you have to remember. So what it is, that is equal to square root of focal gap divided by directrix gap. Directrix gap. This is the another equation you have to remember for an ellipse. So here why it is a square root, sir? So if you observe, focal gap is this, focal gap is this particular gap, directrix gap is this, in between that one more element, vertex is there. So if any element is going to be present in between them, then I won't take simply ratio, we'll take a square root of it. Sir, how we got this equation? Very simple. This one equation for E is F1 F2 divided by V1 V2. Another equation for E is V1 V2 divided by O1 O2. If I multiply these two, it will become E square is equal to F1 F2 divided by V1 V2 into V1 V2 divided by O1 O2. O1 O2. So we can able to cancel V1 V2 here. Then we are going to get it as F1 F2 divided by O1 O2. That implies if I take a square root, E is equal to square root of F1 F2 divided by O1 O2. So these are the three more formulas we have to remember. Remember, my dear friends, these formulas are not only valid for ellipse, it is also valid for hyperbola. How it is, sir? I will explain that in the next video. These are the conceptual information you have to remember. And one more point you have to remember in ellipse, I forgot to explain that. Here so many axes are there, sir. What about two elements like vertex gap V1 V2 and co-vertex gap CV1 and CV2? These two are special cases. One is maximum, another is minimum. These two are called principal axes. Principal axis. And what about the other remaining are apart from these two? Apart from these two, whatever the axes are present, this is one, this is another, like this infinite number of axes are there. They are called auxiliary axis. They are called auxiliary axes. These are important. So whenever other than major and minor axes are there, they are called auxiliary axis. Why you have to remember this, sir? Whenever auxiliary axes are given, apart from major and minor, auxiliary axes are given, and if they are not perpendicular, auxiliary axes which are not perpendicular to each other, then we can able to use only one method to construct it. That is nothing but parallelogram method. That is nothing but parallelogram method, because you should be aware which data is given, which method has to be applied. If major and minor axes are given, which method we can able to apply? First preference is going to be concentric circles or oblong method. Oblong method. Sir, what about arcs of circles method, sir? That is F1 F2 and CV1 information is given. F1 F2 and V1 V2 information is given. Then we can able to use arcs of circle method. How it is? For that you have to know one particular point, that is the character of the ellipse. So what is the character that particular point, sir? What is that particular point? So I will explain that here itself. So let us consider. So what is that particular point we have to remember? So if P is a point on the curve, if P is a point on the curve, let us consider. If P is a point on the curve, this is important statement, my dear friends. If P is a point on the curve, one second. Now, if P is a point on the curve, let us consider P is a point here, and these are vertex gaps V1, V2, which is mostly considered as AB. Major axis is going to be considered as AB, and this is O. And these 2 points are F1 and F2. What is the character of P with respect to fixed points? With respect to fixed point, how we can able to say it? So this statement is important. All of it carefully observe. If P is a point on the curve, if P is the if P is the point on an ellipse, then what is its character, sir? What is its character? So that is nothing but, so I will write this statement in another fashion. If P is a point on a curve which is moving in such a way that sum of its distances to the fixed points is constant. Sum of its distances to the fixed point is constant. Then what is that constant? I will explain later. Sum of its distances to the fixed points is constant. Then the curve is an ellipse. Then the obtained curve is considered as an ellipse. So what is this constant distance? That is nothing but vertex gap, which is also considered as major axis length. So here you have to remember these 2 important words. If P is a point on the curve moving in a plane such a way that sum of its distances to the fixed points is constant, then the curve is an ellipse. So if you use the word sum of its distances to the fixed point, then automatically it is an ellipse. Sir, how it is? So Pf1 plus Pf2 is going to be a constant, and this constant is going to be V1, V2. So here, now we can able to know that co-vertices is also points on the ellipse. This is C, this is D. So co-vertices CV1 is going to be considered as C. CV2 will be considered as a D. So C is also point on the curve. Therefore, we can able to write this one as CF1 plus CF2 is equal to constant, that is v1 v2. V1 v2 we can able to write it as AB. So but due to the symmetry, CF1 and CF2 distances will be the same. Here CF1 is equal to CF2. Therefore I can able to write it as 2CF1. And for AB, O is the midpoint. Therefore AB is equal to twice OA or twice OB. Twice OA or twice OB. Therefore we can able to write 2OA. Therefore CF1 is equal to OA. So this equation is also obtained in some other way. What is this here, sir? So if you observe, OV1 is A here, CF1 is also A here. Here also we got the same. I said how we can able to get this information. I said I will explain again. So that explanation is here. This is the important point you have to remember. If P is a point on the curve moving in such a way that sum of its distances to the fixed points is constant, then it is considered as an ellipse. Okay, these are the conceptual information you have to remember for an ellipse. So conceptual information of hyperbola I will explain in the next video.